Hey, Will.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Brian's got a little presentation for us today. It is a beautiful
Absolutely. And we are now live on YouTube, William. We
Awesome.
are live. Let's go. All right, you guys. So this is the second to last leg of this live training that we've been doing on turning renters into buyers. So we've gone through quite a few different segments of this. And if you guys haven't seen them, you can go back and watch the last couple of YouTube videos. I believe we're 4 or 5 videos in on this. Each segment's an hour long or longer. But we've essentially covered where to go and find data so that you guys can get in front of your ideal renters that are going to be looking to buy a house or that should be looking to buy a house. We've shown you how to utilize direct mail to go and target those folks with direct mail. We've shown you guys how to upload those audiences into Facebook so that you can target them in Facebook. And we've also shown you in Google. Now, Google has made some changes, so we can't really use those audiences now, and we'll get into that in today's training. We've also taught you guys how to set up automate save search alerts inside of KV Core. We've gone through warm outreach, and today we're going to be covering Google and YouTube ad creation so that you can get in front of this ideal audience so you guys can go and win more buyers and transform these renters into homeowners and help these folks build their wealth. So as always, we have a little slideshow that we're going to be following along with. It's going to give us step-by-step instructions. And again, when this training is completed, everybody is going to have access to this in the group. We are on 40 slides now. So every training that we're doing, we're adding additional content every step of the way so that you guys have more and more and more training that you can go through and utilize. So let's go ahead and dive on in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just move my Google Ads Manager screen right over. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of the additional tabs. And basically what we're going to do is follow along with this step-by-step instructional guide on how to go ahead and get started with Google Ads. And I'm going to do 2 different type of ad creations for you guys today. We're going to do a video ad creation, and we are also going to do a search and display ad, so that you guys can see the 2 different types of ads that are going to get you the best results with Google and YouTube so that you guys can win more buyers. That was such a lovely message I just received. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right into this. So essentially this, I'm going to cover these first 3 slides in one fell swoop, and then we're going to cover these last 4 slides in the next stint of this. These are going to be here for your guys' reference, so you can go back and have those step-by-step instructions. But I've done this several times, well, hundreds of times, so I don't actually need to reference these while I'm going through training, but you guys get them. So when you are logged into your Google Ads Manager and you're under campaigns, we want to look at campaigns. All we have to do is go ahead and click this little plus here to create a new campaign. So a new campaign is going to be the umbrella of which our ad set, our creative, any of our materials for that ad falls under. Now, for this particular video type or this ad type, we're going to be covering video. And I'm going to show you guys how to get calls directly to your cell phone from a video advertisement that you guys are running, or drive folks to a landing page, whichever you prefer. So if we select leads, we can see that the very first thing that's selected down below is phone call leads. This is set by default. All right, so I actually really love this. You guys can utilize this or not. It's one of those things that you can change this at the final destination URL, whether you want it to go to a website or whether you want it to call you directly. So we're simply going to select whatever the objective is of our campaign, and then we're going to go ahead and hit continue. So if we wanted to drive people to a website to book appointments, we could drive them to book appointments. If we wanted to drive them for any other things, we can, say, brand awareness and reach, so that you can just start cultivating that audience, getting to know those folks. You definitely can. It's more cost effective to just go for the leads, though, in my opinion, than it is to build the brand and then go for the leads, because you're getting the same message essentially out to all of those folks, and they're most interested in the homes anyways. So what we can do from here is just go ahead and click continue. Now, we're going to see another little thing that's going to pop up down below, and this is just going to ask us what campaign type we have to run. Now, I've given you guys a little synopsis on those campaign types for what each campaign type is. so that you can get a little bit better idea of what those campaign types mean. But essentially, search is going to be if we're looking to get on Google's platform, when somebody's looking for a specific keyword, new homes for sale in Kennewick, Washington, for example, which is where I'm located. Real estate for sale in my location, homes for sale near me, something along those lines. Get them while they're searching. Now, search and display fall under the same category when you're running these ads. And so if you run a search ad, you will also get display as well. Now, what we're going to be focused on is video views, and this is going to be reaching viewers directly on YouTube. So this way you can go ahead and you can target your ideal demographics and go and market to them with a video so that they can either call you or land on your page to book an appointment. So we'll go ahead and click continue on this once we've selected video. Now at the top, the very first step is going to be to name your ad. So I'm just going to say turn renters into buyers. And let's make sure this is all the right case. So turn renters into buyers. So name your campaign. The next step is going to be to take a look at your bid strategy. Now, we of course want to maximize conversions, but it's either target CPA, so it's cost per acquisition, or maximize your conversions. I prefer maximize your conversions because it's going to help us get the lowest cost per acquisition. And its whole goal of this campaign is to take somebody from watching the video to either calling you or landing on your page so that they can then book an appointment. So YouTube will actually target folks that are more likely to do those things for you. So you can go ahead and just select your daily budget. Now in this, YouTube is typically a little bit more expensive to run than a Facebook ad. And the results are typically a little bit higher as well. But as you guys know, if you are actually getting out there on video and you're getting in front of these folks, they've watched a video from you, and then they're going ahead and supplying their information, you are actually giving yourself a much better opportunity to get a higher quality contact or a higher quality lead, because the intent is going to be higher. They've watched your content, they've watched your video, and now they are reaching out to you. So I would start with a $20 daily budget. Now, you guys, when you start running this campaign, you're going to get an optimization scorecard from Google once this is all completed. And Google is actually going to give you recommendations for how you should edit or change or update the ad so that you can get the best results. And I'm going to tell you guys that the number one thing that Google tells you to do when you're running these ads is to spend more money. You don't necessarily need to spend more money every time, but if you look at the platforms, Facebook and Google and YouTube, they all do the exact same thing. These are platforms that generate their revenue based off of the advertising dollars that you spend with them. And so their goal is to squeeze as much budget out of you as humanly possible, because that increases their profitability. So what I would recommend, let the ad run for 4 or 5 days, get a gauge of how many contacts you've received from that. And at that point in time, make a decision as to whether or not you're going to increase your budget or keep it right where it is. You may find that with $20 and an ideal message that's being delivered to your audience, that you're actually getting a steady flow of leads. And those cost per leads are probably going to come in anywhere from 10 to 20 bucks per lead, because we are targeting on a more expensive platform than what we're typically targeting on. Now, once you've selected your daily budget, you can actually set specific end dates for this. So for example, if you wanted to run an ad for an open house that you had this weekend, and your video was you giving a brief tour of the entryway of the home and walking into the house, and then you end it by saying, now to see more of this beautiful home that's currently for sale at 123 Main Street, go ahead and click the link below and schedule a time for a tour, or click the link below for more information on the open house this weekend. All right, so that would be driving them to a specific landing page so you can get them there. So on that type of an ad set, I would select an end date. For this, I'm not going to though. You simply just click edit and you select a date from the calendar. So everyone should be able to do that fairly straightforward. Now, when it comes to location, you guys are automatically going to have United States and Canada labeled here in YouTube or in Google Ads, unless you've gone ahead and entered other specific locations in the past. And if you've done so, Google is going to actually pull those previous locations. So as you can see, when I hit enter another location, Kennewick, Washington populates here. That's the location or demographic that I live in. What you guys will have to click is go ahead and just select advanced options. And then you can go ahead and type in additional cities. So let's just say Richland. And sometimes you got to start with the state afterwards. So now we've got Richland here. Okay, I also want to get West Richland. That's actually the best market in my location or in my area. It's got the safest neighborhoods and the most highest value homes that are for sale. Let's go ahead and take a look at Pasco on the other side of the river as well. So now I've got a decent area that's selected. If you wanted to go ahead and get into any of the other markets, it's going to show you via highlight of where you're actually targeting. So let's say we wanted to get into Findlay, Washington down below. We can go ahead and type in Findlay. And this is actually going to bring up a postal code that's going to target based off, because Findlay is more of a neighborhood than it is a city, even though it's separated from Kennewick. But using that zip code will allow me to get all of those areas down there as well. And then you may want to kind of branch out and get other markets, which you'd have to do with zip codes. But you can do that. So once you've selected your targeted location of where you want your ad to be ran, the next thing that we're going to do is simply select the languages that we want our customers to speak. So for me, I only speak English. I mean, I speak a very small amount of German, but outside of that, I'm not going to be able to understand anyone. I took it in high school. So English is my preferred language. If you're bilingual, be sure to add your additional language here, because bilingual folks in a lot of cases in the US, especially if they're new here, really prefer speaking in their own language and their native tongue. And that could give you a massive leg up on your competition when working with a new buyer or seller that you're going to gain from ads. Now, the next thing that you guys can break into is actually inventory types. If you guys want a little bit more information on this, you can click this compare inventory types and it will give you a breakdown. The standard inventory is recommended for a reason. And this is just basically saying that like you're putting an ad out there that is going to meet their guidelines, and this inventory that you are falling within is going to reach the largest amount of people that is inside of your subset. Now, of course, the expanded inventory will reach the largest amount of people, but the standard inventory is your ideal. And then limited inventory is just going to give us less eyeballs. So I always recommend the standard inventory on this when you guys are going ahead and building out and running these ads. Now, if you have anything that you want to exclude, you can go ahead and add those exclusions here. So you could select specific content types that you would like to exclude. This really isn't something that we need to worry about in the real estate niche. So I wouldn't dive too far into it. Now, site links, site linking extensions, this is always something that helps increase your click rate on your ads. So let's actually go ahead and open up an incognito window really quick so that I can give you guys an idea. Homes for sale in Kennewick. Wow. All right, so you guys are going to see ads that populate here. Now, these additional links down below, these are what these site links are. So you can see that we have homes for sale, what's my home worth, mortgage calculator, find local agents from homes.com. These are the kinds of things that can really improve your ad score and give you a much higher level of clicks, because we have specific links for specific things. So if you had, for example, you're using your KV Core website and you have your search portal, you might have a homes for sale that you have listed as one of your site links. And what you would do in that event is you would simply go in to add a new site link extension. You're going to create a site link text. So if we take a look at this, the site link text here is homes for sale. You'll go ahead and add in a description. You don't have to, but it is recommended. And then the final URL for that site link. So you can see we can do up to 4 site links at any given time for this ad. And we can see that homes.com has gone ahead and added all 4 of their site links, where they've added homes for sale, what's my home worth, a mortgage calculator, and find local agents. So yours may be homes for sale, what's my home worth, mortgage calculator, and then you may have depending on a niche you may have foreclosed homes or something along those lines, so that you have your 4 site links. If you can't think of anything for the 4th, just go ahead and use 3 or 2. It's not that big of a deal whether you have 4 or 3, but the site links do get you better placement and they get you a lower cost on your advertising, which is always a good thing. Now, we can also go ahead and look into additional settings. Again, this is something that I don't feel that you guys should have to worry about. The one thing that I would do is if you have this set for calls, I would go into additional settings and I would set specific times for that ad to run. That way you're not getting calls at 4 a.m. You're not getting calls at, midnight from the crazies that are out there searching in the middle of the night. Those are ads in the middle of the night that we would want to run directly to a landing page to book an appointment on your calendar. So just a note, if you are running a call ad, make sure that you are selecting specific timeframes so that you aren't getting calls in the wee hours of the night. The next step is going to be to name your ad group. And what I do with these, I like to keep things uniform. So I actually name everything the same way all the way down so that when I go from a campaign into an ad group, into an ad set, I know what that ad is every step of the way. And I'm not making any mistakes or reading the reporting on the wrong ad type. Now, under demographics, Google as well as Facebook have drastically narrowed the demographics that we can target when it comes to running a real estate ad. And this is all coming down from Congress because we have to make sure that we're following the Fair and Equal Housing Act. So we have to make sure that we're doing all the right stuff. We can't exclude anybody. It's got to be fair and equal to everybody. No redlining, all of that kind of stuff. Even though you can somewhat by zip codes with Google, we still want to make sure that we're targeting everybody in that area so that our ad doesn't get disapproved. And same goes for Google. If your ads get disapproved, your cost per market goes up just like it does on Facebook. So the next thing that we would actually take a look at is audience segments. Now, this is where you used to be able to go and pull that custom data, but you can see that they no longer allow these data sets to be eligible for those. You can still use website videos or your website visitors. So you could run an ad on Facebook that drove people to your website and then re-engage them on Google. But that's a little backwards because a higher cost to re-engage on Google than it is on Facebook. So I would use Google to run people to your website and then re-engage them on Facebook because that's going to be more effective and has a lower cost. Now, under your interest in detailed demographics, this is where we can actually go ahead and dive in and capture a really good segment so that we can target the right audience. Now with video, we don't get as, with video, we are still going to get into a little bit of keyword search with these. And you can also go ahead and target specific channels, which is absolutely awesome. So a couple of things that I recommend you guys using for your selected interests: buying a new home, homes for sale, real estate, houses, apartments for sale, houses for sale, home purchase loans, new houses for sale, purchasing a home, and purchasing a home loan. Now, these last two, these are actually going to be based off of that customer's intent, which is really cool. So Google, Facebook, all of these tech companies have more data on us than we will ever know. They can actually tell us when we're going to eat probably before we realize that we're hungry. And that's just the nature of the beast. They have just about every single data point that they can. They've been tracking us on our phones in every way that they can for the past, well, since 1995 or 6, whenever Google came out. Google's been tracking your data and using it for ad revenue. So what we're going to do is simply go ahead and go into this interest targeting. We'll select real estate. I'll go ahead and scroll down. We can grab residential properties as well. New houses for sale. That's a great one to grab. Residential properties for sale. That's another good one. Houses for sale. And so we can just kind of go down this list. Okay, so folks that are moving and relocation, that's a good one. And again, this is in market segment type. And we can scroll down and say, okay, let's go ahead and look at home purchase loans, apartments for sale. and pre-owned houses for sale. So that gives us a pretty good search demographic right out of the gate that we can utilize. And then if you guys want, you can break into advanced settings and we can go ahead and utilize keywords. Now, a couple of cool things for these keywords is that this will actually generate a handful of key phrases and things along those lines for you. So if we were just to enter, what I'd recommend is your website, of course, but I'm just going to give an example. So Zillow.com and houses for sale. Now, this is going to give us a list down below of keywords that we can use. So we'd say, okay, buy property. We can go ahead and say, okay, home listings for sale near me, buy home, homes for sale in. And with this homes for sale in, you're going to want to add your location. And I would also do this homes for sale in a couple of times. So that way you could add homes for sale in specific zip codes, because a lot of home shoppers search by zip, but make sure that you enter all of your locations and all of the zip codes that you want in the keyword search as well. Add in homes for sale, and just kind of go down the list and make sure that you're adding all of the keywords that you find that you feel will be relevant to you. Now you can see, of course, sell your home as a high score. There's a lot of relevance here, but this video is focused towards picking up buyers versus listings. So that is a good one to use if you are targeting listings specifically. Now you can also go in and select specific topics. So this would all be under home and garden for housing. And you can go ahead and you can pick out specific things. For this one, you don't even have to worry about that. Your keywords are going to do just fine for you. And then placements, this is where you can get really creative, and you can actually hack and steal your competitors' market, right? So anybody that's on here, do you guys know of an agent that has a large YouTube presence in your location? Nobody's saying anything, so I'll just kind of, okay. So essentially what you could do is, let's say you wanted to go ahead and target a specific YouTube channel. And for us, I mean, it would be good for, say, being on advertising leads to ROI to go ahead and target, say, Tom Ferry, right? But you're going to be able to see that when you start to do your search, you can pull up your YouTube channel, specific videos, lineups, all this kind of stuff. So what I recommend is go and find a handful of agents in your market that are that are doing a lot on YouTube. Maybe there's somebody that's done neighborhood videos where they've covered specific neighborhoods. Maybe it's somebody who's talking about relocating to that area. Somebody with a good number of followers, I would say over 2,000 to 5,000 followers would be what you'd want to target with this. But you can go ahead and select specific channels that you would actually like to run this ad on, so that you can kind of hack your competition's organic traffic and get in front of them so that you can win that lead or that individual as a buyer or a seller. You can also do this by breaking down specific videos. So if there is an agent in your market that has a top 7 neighborhoods in Kennewick, Washington to live in or to move to, and that particular video has, say, 30,000 views, that's a video that I would go ahead and I would grab so that I can put my video ad directly in front of those individuals and have my video right there. Now the next thing, so yes, so Paul, I am going to be providing the slideshow on this once our training is complete, which will be on Thursday, will be the last day of our training for this particular series. And then I'll be uploading the entire slideshow in one fell swoop onto the Facebook group. If you haven't already joined, Leads to ROI Real Estate Marketing Mastery is the name of our Facebook group, and it's facebook.com/groups/leads to ROI. Go ahead and join, and we drop all sorts of good content and hints on there for you guys so you can grow your businesses. But go ahead and select some of your competitors' videos that have the highest level of views, and you can take those videos and you can actually go ahead and hack your clients' organic following or your competitors' organic following and win more clients for yourself. So once you've gone ahead and selected those particular, I'm going to remove these so I can get rid of that banner. But once you've gone ahead and selected a handful of your competitors, if you choose to do this, then we can just go ahead and move on down to the creation of your video ad. So all we're going to do here is what you would essentially do is you would film your video. And I recommend that these are 30 seconds to a minute long. We don't want to go too far in depth with them. You need to have a hook right out of the gate because you have a skip this ad within 4 to 7 seconds of your ad going in front of a YouTube video. So you want to make sure that you have a hook right out of the gate. So you could say something like, searching for a new home in Kennewick, Washington has been a struggle for my clients. I'm going to teach you guys how we have hacked it to where we can help you find the ideal home and da, da, da. So bring out right out of the gate, hit them with what their problem is and hook them into your video. But then all you're going to do once you've created your video and uploaded it into YouTube is you're just going to go ahead and search for your video. So I'm just going to search for leads to ROI. And we can see that we have this leads to ROI platform overview video right here. And we've gone ahead and added this in. Now, the call to action, this is where we're going to be able to select our call to action. And we can go ahead and send this final URL directly to a landing page. So everybody that's in leads to ROI has a bookingwithme.com landing page. And so what I would recommend is to send these folks to your booking link so they can schedule an appointment with you. There is a little bit of code that you can plug in here so that when they click this, it's actually your phone number. And I'll pull that up and add it into the slideshow after the fact so that you guys have access to it. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and add in kellywheeler.bookingwithme.com. So this URL is something that everybody that's in leads to ROI, you guys have. It's your first and last name .bookingwithme.com. And that will get folks directly to your landing page so they can book a time to chat with you. Now, display URL, you can select different paths on this. I just recommend leaving it the way that it is. This would be a different slash, and it will alternate in your videos. So then you can see here, the path fields are part of the display. Viewers understand what to expect from your landing page. Each page can have up to 15 characters. So we can see nonprofits, for example. All right, so you could have /book with me on that so they could see it, but it's a long URL as it is. So I just recommend leaving this the way that it is unless you have a short domain. Now for our call to action, we're simply just going to say book now. Now you can see that's the button. It now says book now, and we have to create a headline. So for our headline, we want to create a headline, a long headline, and then a description. And actually this regular headline isn't necessary, but I recommend doing it. So what we're going to do here is say searching for a new home. Oh, wait. Find home. So very, very short, or you can just do searching, looking, well, no, I would just make this super short, find home. And then in this one, you can say searching for a new home in Kennewick. And that would actually be a little bit more broad. So my location is considered the Tri-Cities. So I'd say searching for a new home in the Tri-Cities, ? And then this can only be 70 characters for the description. So it needs to be something that's short, sweet, and to the point. So find your, and let's just say find your new home in the quickest amount of time. Right. So now we have searching for a new home in the Tri-Cities, find your new home in the quickest amount of time. Then they can just click, go ahead, they can just click the book now, and that will drive us directly to where we need to go. Now, again, this ad set, we do want to name this ad set the exact same thing so that we know what it is every step of the way. So I'm just going to grab this, turn renters into buyers. Go ahead and post that there. And then all we have to do is click create campaign. Once we've created the campaign, it's going to go ahead. So this is telling me right now that it can't contain any of these in it. So we've got to remove things from the keyword search, like commas. And it was just that comma that was giving me an issue. So if you guys make any errors while you're building this ad, it's going to let you know right out of the right at the end. It's going to let you know, hey, you need to update and fix this. It's going to save all of your stuff. So you just have to make that one edit. You don't have to worry about going back and redoing the whole thing if you make a mistake, like I did by adding a comma. So now all you do is click continue to campaign, and your ad is eligible and it's ready to go live. Now, if you don't want this ad to run at this point in time, you can simply go ahead and click pause. And this is how you would turn on or off any of your ads. Okay. Now we're going to go through this process one more time, and it's going to be very similar to what we just covered, but we're going to put the focus on search and display ads versus video ads on Google. And so this is going to be primarily targeted directly around keyword search phrases. So your keyword search phrases are what are going to determine who sees your ad and when it pops up. So we're in essentially what we're going to do is we're going to click back onto all campaigns, go back up to campaigns, then we'll click this little plus button again, and we'll say new campaign. Now, for this, I still recommend doing the exact same thing so that you can get leads. And so I would recommend selecting leads again. But if you want to drive people to your website to search for homes, website traffic would be a good place to send them. And if you have a good website with a capture system like KV Core or something along those lines, you can still capture leads at a relatively low cost by sending them directly to your website to search for houses, especially if you have it set to where when they look at their third property, there's going to be a pop-up that would ask for their information. And so that'll ask for them to either log in through Facebook or enter their name, phone number, and email. And so that does, that particular platform has a pretty good opportunity to capture new leads at a low cost just by driving folks into the search function. We're going to do the same thing where we are focused on phone call leads, and we're going to hit continue. Now,
Bryan,
in this
I got a good question for you. It's
Shoot.
Colin. All the leads generated here, since they are opted in, the agents don't have to worry about do not calls, correct?
That's correct. So if you have a lead that calls you or a lead that actually opts in through your website, as long as you have a message when they're opting in that says that you are going to use their information to contact them, you're 100% in the clear. So you don't have to really worry about DNCs on these. If somebody's opted in, you're clear to call. Now, in the event that you get someone on the phone and they say, I don't know who you are, why are you calling me? And you let them know, well, you'd reach out to me through an ad on Google or through Facebook, or you clicked on something on my website, right? And they still persist. At that point, just say, hey, I apologize. It looks like somebody may have entered your information on your behalf. I'm just reaching out because somebody had submitted this form on my site and I wanted to contact you. So I'll be sure to add you to my do not call list and make sure that we don't send any additional marketing out to you, because we're obviously going to be sending texts and emails as soon as this lead hits our database, because speed to lead is key. So what we're going to do is select search on this, and this is actually going to give us search and display ads. You'll see that here on one of the next pages. But for this particular goal, let's just go ahead and say phone calls. And here we go ahead and we actually enter in the phone number that we would like for them to call us on. So enter your cell phone, or better yet, enter your smart number that is located in your CRM, or the phone number that's provided to you with leads to ROI. And then if they call through the number that's provided with leads to ROI, it's going to record all of your calls when they reach out to you. So this can be used, number one, for training purposes. If you have a difficult objection that you have a hard time overcoming, jump into our Monday, Wednesday, or Friday support hour. Have us listen to that recording. We can help you overcome those objections or find a better way to handle that call. And also, if you guys are on the road, because I know most agents are super busy and out showing properties or out looking at the new inventory that's available or meeting with potential listings, this will give you the ability to go ahead and go back, listen to that call so that you can log ample notes, and be sure to add notes, especially on those rapport builders that you can utilize. And last week I used an example. Someone that we had recently brought on had a dog named Ginger, and it was a red heeler, and it was a female dog. So that was just a note that I logged for myself, so that I have something that I can talk to that particular client about the next time I call, and help myself build some rapport. And they may even be on this. So just notes, type of notes that I take. Now, again, with this, we always want to go ahead and name this the same thing. So we're going to say turn renters into buyers. And I think I actually skipped adding a name on the very first step of this. So I apologize, you guys, but be sure to add that name everywhere that there's an ad name or a campaign name to get things going. Now, as soon as we go ahead and push through, you're going to see that it's going to ask if you want to create a new campaign or finish up one of your drafted campaigns. I'm just going to say start new at this point in time. Now, the next thing we're going to do is actually select our daily budget. And again, with Google, you want to spend quite a bit more than what you would spend on Facebook. So we recommend on Facebook spending about $10 a day. For getting started with Google, I recommend doubling that budget because it does have a higher cost for your conversions. And we're catching folks right at the beginning of their search funnel and right when they're starting this process. So also know that these leads may take a little bit more time to nurture and convert over. Just to give you guys an idea, the average home buyer shops on websites like Zillow, homes.com, realtor.com for 90 days before they provide their information and are ready to go and look at houses. And that's on average. So if we're using keyword searches, search phrase to capture these folks, this could be somebody that is just getting started, the beginning first day of their home search process. This could be somebody that's been searching for 6 months. So just know that the leads that you can capture from this are going to take a little bit longer to cultivate and convert over into an active buyer. So now that we've gone ahead and selected our budget, we want to continue to focus on conversions. So I recommend keeping this at conversions. If you're driving people to your website to look at properties, you may actually look at clicks in order to do that, because you'll get more people at a lower cost on your website searching for properties. But I recommend conversions and keeping it simple. Under more settings, you can actually go in and take a look at your ad rotation. So if you have multiple different keywords and headlines and tags and all this kind of stuff, it will create new ads and kind of shuffle those ads through the mix for you. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. And this particular section is going to be our campaign settings. So earlier I let you guys know that search network and display is going to be in this. This is showing Google search and then search partners. Display will also be in the mix with that as well. Now under locations, the same thing. We have all countries and territories is automatically selected. Usually it'll be United States and Canada, but we want to go ahead and enter in specific locations. So we'll go ahead and click this advanced search. And then I'm going to start typing in my markets. So Kennewick. And then I'm going to add in Richland. We'll add in West Richland. We'll add in that 99337. And then we'll add in Pasco. All right, so now we've got a pretty sizable location or area that we're going to be targeting these folks. And this is based off where they are when they're searching. Now, again, we want to make sure that we select the correct languages. So if you speak any language other than English, be sure to add it into this so that you can attract your ideal client type. This video will be displayed in front of folks that natively speak whichever languages you select here. Now, when we dive into audience segments, we can do a lot of the same stuff that we were previously doing, where we're focusing on people that are interested in real estate, new houses for sale, residential properties for sale, houses for sale, moving and relocation, home purchase loans is a great indicator, apartments, otherwise known as condos for sale, pre-owned houses for sale, new apartments for sale, residential properties for rent. I would leave that out. So you can add in all of the same types of detailed demographics here. And you can also search and browse by typing in more interests and things along those lines. Just know that detailed demographics is pretty much what we're going to be able to use in the real estate side. Once we start kind of diving into, you used to be able to select homeowners, for example, and target homeowners specifically, but now you can't target that specific data set on YouTube. So it can be used for people that aren't in housing, or that aren't real estate or mortgage, those kinds of things. But for us and our marketing, we can't actually target those homeowners specifically on YouTube any longer, or Google. So now we go into the dynamic search and display settings. Select domain and language to use for all dynamic ad groups and campaigns in the domain. So if you guys want to go ahead and make this a little bit more detail oriented, you go ahead and add in https:// and your website leads to ROI.com. All right, and then use Google's index of my website. So what this is going to do is Google's going to comb through the website that you're sending these folks to. And if you have blog content, if you have videos, if you have a search portal, Google's going to go and find all of the keywords and everything from your site so that it can best place you in front of the right audience that is searching. So I recommend using Google's index of your website, because they're going to know exactly where they're going to place this. Now, again, with this, since we are doing this as a call, I would recommend clicking on more settings and be sure to go into your ad schedule. Now on this, I would set these calls to come through from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whatever time frame you would like for these calls to come through. Let's actually bring this a little bit up. So, and this is also in military time. Just know 1700 is going to be 1700 is going to be 5 o'clock. So let's just go 1900. So that way we give ourselves a little bit of a buffer. And then if you want to add in campaign locations or anything like that, you can. But this is, again, a step that you guys can skip. You don't even need to worry about this. So now we click next. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us some dynamic ad targets. So again, you can go in and select particular ad targets that you want to use, specific web pages, all of those good things. And so at this point in time, what we would go ahead and do is you'd either pick a specific web page, you can select URLs to target, or we can just focus on all web pages. So for this, what I recommend is going in and selecting pages that are going to have the highest level of search volume for what you are looking for. So let's just say we are going to go in and type in houses for sale. Go ahead and hit enter on that. 1 second. Actually, let me go back really quick on this. Because there should be another section, unless they just moved it, in which I'm going to have to update my extensions. So we didn't get into our keywords. Interesting. Give me 1 second, you guys. Budgets and bidding, campaign settings, audiences. It should be right below audiences for keywords. And the observation is definitely recommended. It used to give me keywords here. Okay, so let's just say that our target URL is kellywheeler.bookingwithme.com. So we go ahead and we can click that add, and it will add that URL directly over. So for anybody that's searching for a specific keyword or anything along those lines, you can go ahead and put in Zillow.com. So for anybody that's searching Zillow.com, you would go ahead and populate at the top of that. I would add in homes.com here. So that way you have homes.com, Zillow.com, realtor.com. Anybody that's searching for any of those specific keywords, you'll be able to display your ad directly in front of those folks or searching for those particular websites. So now when we go into our dynamic search ad, this is where we want to make sure that we have a solid headline that is going to that is going to go ahead and put our headline directly in front of the folks when they're searching. So what does dynamic mean? Dynamic means, have you guys ever gone on Google and searched for something and then your actual name populates, or your not your name, but the category of what you are actually searching for populates in that particular description? It's all done through the dynamic generated headlines. So we could say homes for sale in Kennewick, Wa. And then on the second one, we could say homes for sale in Richland, Wa. And so one of these two headlines would populate in that dynamic based off of their search parameters. So you guys can go ahead and set those up. If you have tracking template, you can go ahead and add that in. So this would be a URL that you have that has a tracking ID. So that this works with your Google, it works with your Google, not your audience manager, but your Google Analytics. And so you'd want to collect that key from your Google Analytics, and then you can plug that directly into here. And then you can also add your final URL as well. And these are just for tracking purposes so that you can add things like tags for where they looked and things along those lines into your CRM. So from here, we're going to go ahead and click next. And this is going to actually be our call out text for this ad. So at this point in time, let's just go ahead and take a look at, our incognito window. And let's go ahead and search for homes for sale in Kennewick, Wa. All right, so now we've got a handful of ads that are populating here. See, realtor.com has Kennewick, Wa real estate, Kennewick homes for sale. And then this last one, I'm missing it because I don't see the third search. But we can see Zillow has Kennewick, Wa real estate and homes for sale. So it's very similar to what we had above with realtor.com. But instead of separating out those two segments, they just made it one. So we can actually go ahead and look at our markets and get a better understanding of how we should run this ad based off of the competitors that are going to be in our space. And so I'm not seeing very many realtors that are actually marketing here. I'm seeing every couple of times when I go ahead and enter this in, I'm getting ads. Sometimes I'm not. But we want to make sure that we take a look at what our competitors are doing and go ahead and add something similar. So what I would do is I would go ahead and copy what Zillow has right here. And we can go ahead and plug in that call out extension. Now this one's actually only supposed to be for our call out text. This one's only supposed to be 25 characters. Oh, and for call out text is a little bit different. So we'd go ahead and we would say, call now, contact us, get in touch, and that should be good. So then we can go ahead and we can hit next. And then it's simply going to review. And if we have anything that needs to be updated, we can go ahead and update those things. So you can see, just like before, if we have errors, it says go ahead and fix it. So this is saying keywords and ads, dynamic ad targeting. So I'm not actually getting, I'm going to remove these right now for this. But for some reason, keywords didn't populate in here when they should. Houses for sale. So I think I had a little bit of a glitch when I was trying to show this to you guys, because this is actually where your keyword should be, is right in this section. And it's not allowing me to view that right now. But again, keywords that I would focus on would be right here. So these same keywords is what I would focus on when you guys are building out this ad. And it's still giving me this dynamic ad issue for our problem. That's because we don't have keyword select because it wouldn't allow us to. So let's go ahead and delete that. Haven't created any dynamic search ads. Okay, let's go back and fix it. Sometimes these companies change the way they do things, guys. Just say real estate for sale in Kennewick. Okay, and that actually just booted me out. So let's go ahead and move back to campaigns. And this was a search campaign, turn renters into buyers. This one is pending review. Give me a second. Let's find what we just built. So that was video conversions. And it looks like they've actually removed it, or they didn't save it to my, said that it's saved, but it's not saved inside of my campaign group. So let's find out. Video conversions, turn renters into buyers. This is the one. Oh no, so this is video ad. And why aren't I seeing all my campaigns now? There we go. And let's actually do this again really fast. I'm going to make this really quick for you guys. So I'm just going to kind of blare through this just so that I can get to where I need to get to show you guys what didn't populate before. Okay, and start new. Focus on conversions. Languages, audience segments. All right, now dynamic ad search. Now, I'm not sure where the keywords went to, because in search we always do it based off of specific keywords, and it's not populating for me right now, you guys. So I'm not sure why it's not populating the keywords for us in our ad creation. But what I'll do is I'll make sure that I come back to this on next training when we're doing the last segment of this at the very end, and I'll jump into this so that I can show you guys the keyword section of it. And that should actually cover everything that we're gonna get in front of you guys for today. I apologize that it didn't show up, or the keywords aren't populating, but it should be showing up right here under keywords and ads. So I'll be sure to run back through this next week next Thursday with you guys, so that you can just see how the keyword functionality works inside of Google Ads Manager. But for some reason, it's not allowing me to access them right now, which is kind of interesting because it did previously as I was going through this. So it actually pre-generates your guys' keywords, which is really cool. So I will, I'll be sure to go back over this again on Thursday so that you guys can see that segment. Out of curiosity, I want to see, does anybody have any questions on what we've covered so far with YouTube ad creation? Awesome. Well, that will wrap up our live training for today. William, do you have any last minute announcements?
Not really. Just yeah, it was great session, and I'm gonna be excited to see what listings to leads rolls out in a month and a half also. That'll make life easier for everybody as well. But yeah, ready to rock. Let's go. Thank you, Bryan.